go get your butt kicked, go fail, because the failure is the building blocks to your success, right? You just got to go do it. You're going to figure out whatever you got to figure out by going and doing it.
Welcome to yet another monthly webinar here on BatchTV. My name is Kyle Redman, and today we have the pleasure of interviewing the one and only Char Hiaring. So let's go ahead and dive right in and learn a little bit about our guest today. So Char jumped into real estate in 2017 after declaring bankruptcy. Crazy, right? I can't wait to hear this story. Determined to start a new chapter in his life, within just 30 days of his wholesaling journey, Char made an impressive $97,000 in profits. I can't wait to hear how he did this. It's very impressive, right? And after almost hitting six figures his first month, Char was instantly hooked and never looked back. I would be too. So today, Char runs a very successful wholesaling operation in Idaho and is a coach and mentor to entrepreneurs all over the globe. With a passion for both real estate and mentorship, Char also has become a very successful icon on social media by inspiring others, showing that anyone with the drive can be successful at wholesaling real estate. Actually, that's how I met Char. If you guys go to his TikTok, it is impressive. But last but not least, Char just launched a brand new free course online that he will most likely be sharing with all of you at the end of this webinar today. So today's agenda is going to look like this. First, I would love everyone to get to know Char a little bit more. So we're going to ask him a couple questions about his career and learn about his process of becoming a successful wholesaler. Then Char is going to deep dive into these 5 main topics. The first is his fundamentals of wholesaling real estate. The second is how he consistently finds motivated sellers in any market condition. The third is his exact sales process that he uses. The fourth is his transparency when he talks to homeowners. And the fifth is how to optimize your strategy to close more deals. But last but not least, I'm going to ask my final famous question at the end, and that will be a wrap for today. So go ahead and put all of your phones on silent, grab a pen and paper, and fasten your seatbelt because this is about to be our best webinar yet. So with further ado, I give to you Char Hiaring. What's going on, Char? Welcome.
What's up, man? How you doing? That was the nicest intro I've ever got. I appreciate that.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
So
man.
Char, I know everyone wants a little bit of a glimpse of who you are, but I think everybody is really dying to know how and why did you get started in real estate investing?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think like many people who follow me, reach out, and probably on this webinar, we strive for more, right? I've had over 50 jobs in my life. And I just got to the point where I was sick of working for other people, like giving my all for these people working these jobs. And, that's kind of the pill we take, right? If this person's willing to give me, mine was 20 bucks an hour, give me 20 bucks an hour, give me the weekends, and I'm happy. And the funny thing was, after all these 50 jobs, like nobody was doing that for me. And so I had determined that the only way that I was going to get whatever I was trying to achieve in life was do my own thing. And so, funny enough, like many of us, my good friend gave me the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I was hooked. I was reading this thing. I'm like, man, this is like the answer to all of my problems. And it said that he made most of his wealth from real estate. And I said, well, I've got to get into real estate, but I don't want to be a realtor. And I don't really know anything about real estate. And so that's really where it all started. And from there, my next step was, okay, let's go get a job in real estate. And that's what I did.
I love it. A little bit of Robert Kiyosaki. So one thing I'd like to really know is what is the most common mistake you see new investors make in this day and age right now?
Some of the most common things I see is number one, shiny object syndrome, right? I see a lot of people who just chase the next new shiny thing and they haven't gave this first thing a shot. For most people in the chat, maybe you've done your first deal, maybe you haven't, but I always tell people that the most important thing that you could do when you're new is just get that one deal, proof of concept, rinse and repeat. Next deal, one deal. It's one deal. Every day it's a new day. And I just tell people if they could just simply focus on that, your chances for being successful are much higher versus chasing everything else that everybody else is doing and all these other avenues that aren't going to get you to what your goal ultimately was, which was wholesaling houses.
Yeah, amen to that. A lot of people come into our community, looking online for like make money online. Well, there's a million ways to make money, but if you do exactly what he said and you just stick to it, right? And you just have tunnel vision versus just putting a little energy here, putting a little energy here, putting a little energy here, and have that tunnel vision over time with consistency and effort, you will be successful, right? Especially if you have a coach like Char, right?
100%. The reason why I'm qualified to coach people with this is because I've been through it, right? Like I am the prime example of shiny object syndrome. I am the prime example of making things way too complicated, way more complicated than they have to be. But I've really learned those hard lessons and faced those things. And I think that that's what makes me qualified to help people who have gone through the same thing. Because when I see it, I'm like, I was just like that. And this is how we fix it.
I love that. So what I think we should like get into right now is basically these fundamentals of wholesaling real estate, right? And then I'd like to get more into, your journey. But I think, there's keys to this game, right? There's a lot of different ways you can do it, but there's a key to, wholesaling real estate in general, right? So like, what are some of your key fundamentals of wholesaling real estate? Because I'm going to tell you right now, every coach is different. Every coach has a different approach, but there's key fundamentals at the end of the day. So like, what are some of your key fundamentals of wholesaling real estate?
So when I talk about the key fundamentals of wholesaling, really what I mean is your foundation, right? When I'm a big sports guy, and I think you are too, Kyle. But
Yep.
when I would play baseball as a kid, the reason why I was able to excel so much faster than everybody else that I was playing with is because I learned the fundamentals first and I took it very slow. I just focused on the fundamentals and then I sped up quicker, quicker, quicker. And that's what helped me be great. So my main goal for this webinar is I just want to keep it simple. And so with my key fundamentals, I got 3 talking points. The first one is education. The second is community. And the third is take an action. So the first one is education. The first thing you got to do is maybe if you're new and maybe you're just getting started, or maybe you've done a couple deals, but you're hitting a wall, right? You're hitting a ceiling. You need more education, right? Like to this day, I've got business coaches, I've got mindset coaches, I'm coachable, right? I'm always wanting to learn. I know that the most important thing for me is if I could get the right coach who can watch my golf swing or my baseball swing and say, okay, this is where we're going to fix you. I need that person who can help me be better. So education is super important, learning the right things, keeping up to date with things. And I think a lot of people overlook that, right? A lot of people just want to go do it, but they don't know, what do I do? Go to YouTube University. It's free, right? Batch Leads, I know, when you pay for the Batch Lead software, you guys have built out a whole course for people, like a whole course that has great, like the production is better than my course. I'll give you that. Like it's really good. You guys put a lot into it. And so there's a lot of information out there. And there is analysis paralysis. And I'm not telling you to do analysis paralysis, but educate yourself. Number 1. Number 2 is going to be community. Your environment, the people you're surrounding yourself with, is so critical to your success. The reason why I went bankrupt, the reason why I was in that situation is because I was surrounded with people who were in and out of jail. I was surrounded with people who were going to the bar every weekend. I was surrounded with people who had poor financial education and people who had no aspirations to do anything with their life. Deep down inside, I felt suppressed. And I'm like, I just know that there's something more for me. And so what I had done is I cut those people off and I got myself around people who were doers, people who wanted more, people who were positive. And that was so important, my community. Everybody needs a community. Us as humans, we're not meant to be alone. Everybody needs a community. And you're going to be much more successful if you surround yourself with people whom you want to become. They're going to lift you up. It's just the reality of it. And then the third thing is, if you don't go and do it, you're just not going to go and do it, right? It's that simple. Go get your butt kicked, go fail, because the failure is the building blocks to your success, right? You just got to go do it. You're going to figure out whatever you got to figure out by going and doing it. All this other stuff, education and community, fills in the gaps. That's it. And if you could do that, you're going to figure out enough of what you need to know to be successful, or at least figure out, hey, is this wholesaling thing what I want to do? Because I've seen so many people who get started in this and then they truly figure out what they want to do. Buy and hold investor, real estate agent. Maybe it's just being a bird dog, or maybe they want to be a social media influencer, whatever it may be. But I found that only good things have come from people who do these things because they tend to be better habits and more structure than people actually really have in their life. It's a mindset thing. I'm a big mindset guy.
I love how you lay that out. It is perfect to the fundamentals of being successful. Now, earning $97,000 in your first month of wholesaling is pretty impressive, Char. I mean, honestly, I can't even believe it. And I know it's your drive and you're an A-type person, right? And you're really good at sales. So there has to be a structure to the madness. And I think it boils down to having a consistent pipeline of motivated sellers, right? So what is your process to that, right? Like, how do you have a consistent pipeline of motivated sellers?
So how I consistently find motivated sellers, and just like the last one, I keep it very simple. 3 key points. The first one is going to be, I've got a marketing strategy for everything that I'm doing. Number 2, what software am I using? Because that's critical. Your software will make or break you. And number 3 is commitment. So the first one with my marketing strategy, you got to think about it. Do I have time or do I have money? And I always tell people this when they get into my mentorship. Do you have time or do you have money? And they're like, well, what do you mean by that? Do you have enough money to put towards a committed marketing budget? Or are you flat broke and you've got to go out there and be scrappy? Because this really determines what kind of marketing strategy you're going to have. If you have no money, then you're going to have to go out there and door knock. You're going to have to go out there and drive for dollars. You're going to have to use resources like batches, free skip tracing, free leads, because that really will benefit you, right? That's a huge, give me. Software. This is critical. And this is something that I've faced over the years. I've used Batch ever since I've gotten to wholesaling, and Batch has been a really good resource. There's a lot of YouTubers and a lot of people say, well, go to the county and pull lists. Look, you can go to the county and tap in and get these lists, but Batch does it for you, right? That's what Batch is doing, right? We're all getting our data from the same place. Batch Leads offers that service because do you have time or money? Batch Leads offers a convenience. So software is critical. The last one is commitment. You have to commit to whatever marketing plan you're doing, and you have to commit to whatever software you're using. There is no magic pill. Batch Leads is a magic pill. My mentorship's not a magic pill. None of it is. But if you commit and you decide in your head that you're actually going to do this and you're actually going to figure it out, and you know that you're going to lose money, you have to commit. Commitment is a huge thing. So decide in your head that you want to commit. And if you could do these 3 things, commitment, have the right software, and have a strategy and some consistency, right? Because that's the topic. Then I promise you, you're going to outpace everybody else who's doing this, who's new, chasing every new shiny bell and whistle, and you're going to beat them. You're going to get your first deal and you're going to be successful. So it's simple enough. That's it.
So now that we've really gone over that process, how do you take it to the next level? Because I know there's people that have sold a lot of properties here and have got it under contract and I've had a buyer come in and take it over. So how do you then optimize your strategy to close more deals?
Great question. And again, how I've done before is we just have 3 simple ways to break that down. Time is money. And I've talked about that many times on this. Time is money. Batch Leads offers a service that's at the tip of your fingertips. It's something that I've used, and really, that's one way that I'm optimizing is the right software, having the right team. And the nice thing with Batch Leads is you got the course in there, right? You're showing people all these things that we've talked about, because I know that the way that I am, I'm not going to retain all this information from this podcast. But if I'm using somebody like Batch who has these resources, it's going to help me. Okay. With the things that I talked about, this will give you a solid foundation. The first thing that you need before you start is that foundation, because if you build this house on sand, it will crumble. And I see so many people do this, right? What does that really mean? I'm metaphorically speaking. If you don't take the proper steps when doing this, slow down a little bit, everybody. Slow down and realize what you need. You need 1 deal if you're new. If you're not and you're hitting a ceiling, why am I hitting a ceiling? I'm only getting 1 deal this month to the next, going 2 months without any. Okay, are we committing and making a strategic marketing strategy that's actually working? And if it's not, why is it not working? Look into these things. This is your business, right? Okay. Keep it simple, look into it, figure out why it's not working. That's important. That's what I call a foundation, right? We need to have education, community, take action. And then in that is kind of the other things I talked about. And then the last thing, like I talked about before, this is a really big thing. And I tell a lot of people, because I see this probably as much as everybody else who's, an influencer has a large following. Do not chase the shiny object. Stay focused. Here's my question for everybody. Do you want to be successful? Or do you want to keep on chasing all this crap that isn't going to get you anywhere? Do you want to keep on comparing yourself to other people? You see somebody else who went and did something and they were successful with it. But the one thing I'll tell you about social media is social media lies, right? Like everybody thinks that I'm perfect. I'm the successful businessman who hasn't had failures. That is the furthest thing from the truth because I have bad days. Yesterday was one of them, right? But I know some things that other people don't know is like, it's going to be okay. And I learned from the things of yesterday to make me better today, right? So do not chase the shiny object. Do not compare yourself to others. Stay focused, right? Get your solid foundation. That's what I would have to say is the ways that you optimize and close more deals and be successful.
Beautiful. Well, all right. So my famous question. If
Yes.
you were to leave one piece of advice behind for all of the entrepreneurs out there, what words of advice would you leave?
Oh man, that is such a good question. I think that that's probably going to pertain to where I'm at in life right now, but I think it's going to help a lot of people. Um, Mindset is huge. It's bigger than I ever thought it would be. You see a lot of people who are super successful. One of the reasons why they're successful is they have this in check. I'm realizing now to really operate at such a high level, this is the one thing that has to be in check over everything else. This and my emotions. And if this is not in check and my emotions aren't in check, my business is going to run me, my emotions are going to run me. So I'm a big mindset guy. Mindset is critical, 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 critical. Make sure you get that down first, right? Give your brain the proper nutrition it needs by putting yourself in the right environment. Stop with the self-limiting beliefs, tell your stuff good affirmations, things that are actually true, because words are life and death. And the people who you surround yourself with is who you are. So that's the biggest advice I can give people right now. And that's not just going to bring you money. That's going to bring you peace and happiness inside, which is really, really critical and will give you purpose. And I think that's some good advice that I can leave people. That's not just going to make them money, but that's going to give them something that's going to be fulfilled. So.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, thank you, Char, for spending your time with us. We really appreciate it. But also thank you to everybody in the Batch community for squatting up and for taking your time to be here as well. And like always, thank you guys so much, and let's get it.